Since colonial times, America has sought to expand westward. But before creating a connection to the frontier, we would first have to construct a vast network of bridges, railroads, and tunnels across our nation's landscape. In the 19th century, the Hoosac Mountain in North Adams, Massachusetts, stood as a great natural barrier that limited commerce between the merchants and the western part of the state. In an effort to open more efficient and profitable trade routes, a plan for tunneling through the mountain to connect Boston and Albany by rail was proposed. On to Hoosac, on to the west. That was the rallying cry used by the Troy and Greenfield Railroad line. But the Hoosac Tunnel would soon become known as one of the most extensive engineering efforts ever undertaken, haunted by a series of unexplained events and terrible tragedies. From the very beginning, the project was beset with problems. It took years to acquire building permits. Rival railroads set out to stop its construction. And in 1851, after digging finally commenced for the unprecedented 4.7-mile-long tunnel, the $25,000 custom-made drilling machine had failed, getting stuck after cutting only 12 feet into the mountain. But supporters of the project would stop at nothing to break through the political red tape and logistical setbacks, and introduced the first commercial use of the dangerous and unstable explosive nitroglycerin. The project was once again underway, but now it was overdue, over budget, and increasingly unsafe. In 1865, explosive experts Ringo Kelly, Ned Brinkman, and Billy Nash were laying down the explosives to blast the rock from inside the mountain. Just prior to detonation, Nash and Brinkman were to seek shelter at a nearby safety point. But before they could reach it, Kelly detonated the nitroglycerin prematurely, and the two men were crushed under tons of rock. After the accident, Kelly disappeared and wasn't seen again until 1 year later, when a tunnel crew discovered his body in the exact same spot where the explosion had occurred the year before. Strangely, the coroner determined that Kelly's cause of death was strangulation, and that it happened only a few hours before his body was found. The mystery surrounding his death caused ill ease among the miners, who reported hearing men's voices groaning in agony deep within the tunnel. The men began complaining, some refusing to work. The foreman told the workers, "Forget the noise, it's just the wind." But the complaints grew more frequent, and workers started refusing to enter the tunnel after sundown. The foreman contacted a mechanical engineer, Paul Travers, and they traveled 2 miles into the tunnel to investigate. As they reached the spot, they stopped to listen. They stood in the cold silence and heard with their own ears what truly sounded like a man crying out in pain. Both men agreed that the sounds they heard that night could not have been the wind. 1 month later, disaster struck again, this time the worst in the tunnel's history. 13 men were working in the shaft in the middle of the mountain when suddenly fumes from a flammable lamp ignited, causing a massive explosion that rained down debris on the crew below. It took over a year to recover all of the bodies of the victims. During that time, villagers told tales of strange shapes and muffled wails coming from within the tunnel. Workers were said to have seen lost miners on the mountaintop, carrying picks and shovels into a shroud of mist and snow. And after the final victim's body was buried, the sightings of the miners mysteriously ceased. In 1875, construction was finally completed, and the tunnel had successfully linked trading to the west. But the nearly 25-year, $21 million dig through the mountain had also claimed the lives of close to 200 men, earning it the name, the Bloody Pit. Some wonder if the tragedies and setbacks were a result of a curse from a mountain that would have been better left undisturbed, while others tell stories of strange sights and unsettling sounds that continue to haunt visitors to this day.